All right. Very good. So we'll go ahead and get this clear up, and you guys do your thing. Excuse us. Okay.
Well, good morning. I want to introduce my esteemed colleague, Jeff Neely. He is the Regional Commissioner for PBS, as you all know, and he has been doing double duty as acting regional administrator. Jeff has a very unique talent, and that is he can teach snorkeling to almost anyone, regardless of language. Now, keep in mind that Jeff only speaks English, so that is quite a talent. So, Jeff Neely.
And I'm pleased to introduce Maria Gemini Ramirez. Maria is the acting regional commissioner for FAS in Region 9. Her special talent has nothing to do with that exercise we just did, obviously, and thank you for not calling me a blowhard. I really appreciate that. But her special talent is salsa dancing. And yes. I am told, I don't have personal experience dancing with Maria, but I'm told she's very, very good at salsa dancing.
I am.
Oh, how did this slide get in there? I'm sorry, I thought I was so through with talking about the Giants. It's just a mistake. It's a total mistake. So many of you have heard Region 9 talking about how Region 9 rocks, R9 rocks. And frequently people think that that's just us bragging. And that's kind of a little tiny piece of it. But it really is about rocks. At the WRC in Portland a number of years ago, I actually traveled from San Francisco to Portland with the original rock that looks very much like the one you see on there. And it started this tradition that we have of folks sort of branding their organizations with rocks. And that's a cabinet full of rocks that sits in my office from different organizations in Region 9. Some of those rocks play tunes. So we've had rocks that have been dressed up as people, as characters, as album covers. So it's really, it started off, obviously, and has become more of a branding for Region 9, but the whole R9 Rocks thing at the beginning of the day was about rocks, and has come to be a little bit more than that, but it is sort of a sense of pride that we have throughout the region. Yesterday we heard George talk a little bit about storytelling, and I'm going to do some storytelling today. In Region 9, it actually comes out of Hawaii. They call it Talk Story. So Maria and I will be talking a little bit of story about things that have happened in the past year in Region 9, things that folks have done. Here you have a sort of business shot. I think this is taken from, this is a bunch of our real estate folks. As you're looking at the slide, you may be wondering, there is somebody in that slide who looks like they just kind of are lost. That's Ron Head. I guess we didn't give him a BlackBerry, so he's not totally consumed in everything that's going on with the folks in real estate. We do have a tradition of working really hard, but trying to have a lot of fun in Region 9. This is a leadership council meeting that we had. Those things on the table, does anybody recognize what those are? Region 9 folks should. Those are vuvuzelas, and so during this leadership council meeting, that was how we introduced people. That was how we, instead of raising our hand, we blew these crazy things. So we did have a lot of fun with that, and this is some team building that was going on. Okay, I have to give a shout out on this particular slide because this is actually taken from somebody in Region 9. Many of you know, and now all of you know, the division director of our design and construction division is Kathy Lee, and Kathy Lee is sitting right here. Kathy Lee is, to put it mildly, very serious about her job and about her work and the things that go on in design and construction. This picture is from an offsite where you have a number of folks in her division, and Kathy actually came up with this slide, and you can see what's really going on here. Is this just one big happy family? This is Ken. Is Ken center of the universe? Or is this perhaps the only way Paul can get some respect? Paul is the guy with the hat on. And the real answer to the question is none of these. All of these people should be executing their project. No prize for any of them. Get back to work. For those of you that know Kathy, you can well imagine that she created this.
Well, Jeff, we do work hard. And you are all about buildings and stuff, and seldom do we get to see things tangible. In our assisted acquisition services, we have some projects where we do get to see something tangible. This chart that you see here is a satellite tower that we got to build, where our vendors did, for one of our clients. I started by circling the area on the helicopter that you see there, and then we were able to see and monitor as the statue was erected. And sometimes we get in trouble. Our property management group, they have a program that is about disposal, and they do have the Center of Expertise for Aircraft. Our Region 8 has a Center of Expertise for Firearms. Well, Region 9, we have the aircraft. These are the OV-10 Broncos, and these were used during the Vietnam era for surveilling the enemy, and most of them disappeared. Well, recently, actually last year, we got 12 of these to dispose of. And one of them went to the Valiant Air Command. This aircraft was not certified for flight, and they needed to transport it 15 miles down the road. Well, decided to tow it. The wingspan was too big, and as you can see, they couldn't keep it straight. So every so often, they had to unhitch it from the tow truck, wiggle it to get it straight, and then hitch it back again on the tow truck and move it down. The whole thing took 5 hours to go down the road 15 miles. Simple thing. Oh, and we also find homes for animals, just not just property. These are some pack mules that the forestry department wanted us to help them sell. And we held them. These were in the Idaho park, and we got them sold to some private citizens. We also go outside the continental United States. We had the first Outreach Asia, which is kind of a mini expo. And here we had about 110 vendors and about 400 customers from Guam and Okinawa and Japan mainland and Korea and Hawaii. And we had about 55 hours of training. It was very, very well received. And what you see on the right-hand side is fire support in Colombia. We shipped $500,000 worth of fire equipment and supplies to support the effort in Colombia. So we worked hard during the year, and then after our Western Distribution Center decided to celebrate with a picnic in the backyard. And they had a very busy fire season with Colombia. They had to provide support to Haiti after the earthquake and an American Samoa for the monsoon season. So they can play as well.
So, what do you think of men in skirts? Actually, these really aren't skirts. These are called lava-lavas. And it's actually business attire in American Samoa. And it's kind of neat. We got a chance when we were in American Samoa trying to scout out some locations to do some sort of new lease construct because that place was really, really severely damaged by the tsunami, which I think you guys are all aware of. We did have an opportunity that the bottom right-hand picture is actually a meeting place after they have a Senate and a House there. And after they meet, and their business attire is the lava and typically matching jackets. They meet in this place and have discussions about life. It's just one of their traditions. The other place on here really isn't an American Samoa GSA lease. It's the Tiza's Barefoot Bar that we managed to visit and had some fun at in one of the evenings while we were there.
Now, how come you're the only ones without shoes?
I don't know. Don't have a good answer to that. And you know, another tradition that's not unique to Region 9, but it's certainly important to all regions is, you know, giving back to the communities. Here you have a couple of shots of folks doing the donations and also volunteering for the Habitat for Humanity. That's the San Diego field office being engaged there.
Well, going back to our property management, sometimes we have some excitement. We had this one guy show up in our office with wearing air goggles, and he had very dirty clothes, and these Walmart bags filled with dirty clothes, and he wanted someone to take some money and cash from him. The person who normally greets these kind of people said, "No way, I'm not taking the money." It was $40,000 worth of money, cash. He then made his way to a supervisor's office. And the supervisor, after hearing the story, don't know why he couldn't get just a cashier's check. Anyway, they decided to go into this vault room to count the money, because it's the normal procedure in those kind of circumstances, even though we don't see those very often. They started counting the $40,000. They counted once. And the traditional procedure is that they have to go a second time. Of course, this is with someone there witnessing the transaction. When they are halfway through the second time counting the $40,000, the fire alarm goes off. Everybody needs to evacuate the building. They decided that they were not going to stop at that point, and they decided to stay in the building and finish counting the $40,000. So, needless to say, every now and then we have some exciting stories to tell. And in the Custom Border Patrol, we also help the CBP organization put some tarps, some covering over the areas where they do the inspection, the drug inspection. And it was by the way, they coordinated this with the Marine Corps. And it was very appreciated by the dogs and the inspection dogs and the guards as well. And hopefully next summer we'll be able to expand the covered areas.
And so keeping with the shade theme, one of the things that's going on at one of our larger projects at San Ysidro is we're building a pedestrian bridge, and it's a fairly long expanse of pedestrian bridge. And one of the things we've tried to do is we're having a little design competition to do the shade structure over that pedestrian bridge. And we're treating it as sort of a community involvement. We're engaging local schools. It's actually turned out to be a really popular effort of ours. It's gotten us some real positive community relations and positive press in terms of the things that we're doing. It is a very large project, almost a $600 million project we're undertaking. But this is one of the more fun pieces of it that really sort of connects with the local community. And these are some of the things we're doing to celebrate our past. The shot you have there, it's a couple of buildings. You have on I guess your left, my left, the Federal Building and Post Office in Hilo. It's a neat little building. Through the Recovery Act, we finally got the money to do the seismic work that was so desperately needed in this small little building. The tenants are thrilled. We're about halfway through now, but it's one of those gems that we have in our inventory that it's nice we can finally make seismically safe for the tenants. The Hollifield Federal Building there, many of you have seen that. Quick story about that. That's actually a building when I was very young in GSA, and Clark Van Epps was also very young in GSA. He was trying to dispose of when I was an intern. This is now one of the gems of our inventory. We're pouring quite a bit of money in retrofitting that building, putting some PVs on that building, again, all through the Recovery Act. And this building is certainly a source of pride for everybody in Region 9. This is our future home. And this is a building, once we constructed the San Francisco Federal Building, that sat vacant for a number of years. And through the good graces of the Recovery Act, we are now renovating this building. We are turning this empty structure into a very cool future home of ours, preserving all the very neat, important stuff about it that's historic, but at the same time turning it into the kind of a workplace that you heard everybody talking about yesterday. It really is going to be state-of-the-art. It's going to be a smart building. It's going to be a fun place to work from and a fun place to be in. And a couple of people are worth mentioning for two very different reasons. Mary Filippini, a very important part of our region, retired. She actually stopped by my office, I guess on Friday before I came here. She looks incredible. She's taking yoga classes. She says every single day of her life is full. She doesn't miss the BlackBerry. She doesn't have any stresses. She says she loves retirement. On the right, you have somebody who we will miss. Bella Paul Falvey, he passed away this past year. Bella was our seismic expert, a really good friend, a great guy, who really carried with sort of his presence and his knowledge. He was the seismic expert and one of the top-notch members of GSA seismic team, and he will be missed.
And on the FAS side, we said goodbye to our former regional commissioner, John Boyan. John was very well respected and admired throughout FAS and made significant contributions to us. And we have in Region 9 a number of people who have more than 40 years of service, totaling over 1,400 years of experience. And here we have their names. So it's 34 of them.
And I hope you look at this and just think kind of what I do, and that is, oh my gosh, all of those folks have over 40 years of service. Interns. Region 9 is sort of big into the bringing interns in and sort of growing and training your own business. We now have close to 130 interns in PBS, so it is pretty big business. So these are some shots from the intern conference. We do an intern conference every couple of years. As you can imagine with that number of interns, or as you can see with that number of interns, when you get them all together, it is a very large group.
And we have interns too. We were somewhat jealous of PBS seeing their successful intern program, and we decided we wanted to start one. Actually, these are not the interns, but it illustrates how young our intern program is. We have 3 through the formal intern program with FAS, and we have another 4 through our local business lines.
And in case you're wondering, the FAS interns did participate with us in our intern conference. And then we do some fun stuff in our organization. We are big into mentoring. We have mentoring programs for our interns. We have mentoring programs for our mid-level folks. And this is just a shot of some mentoring going on and folks doing some geocaching, which is really a fun team-building experience. If you haven't had an opportunity to do that, I would highly recommend it.
Now, Jeff, did you notice the shirt this guy was wearing?
I can't go backwards. Oh. Ed Rodriguez rocks. Way to go, Ed. You did it right. And we did some groundbreakings this year. We had some fun times. Perhaps the most fun, I won't go through each and every one of those. You can see we did a number of different groundbreaking events. The one that was the most interesting and the most fun was PJKK in Hawaii. If you can take a look down at the bottom, it looks like we're all holding sticks. Right? You're probably thinking, where the heck are the shovels? Well, in Hawaii, they're called o'o sticks. And I have mine hanging in my office. But this is basically the original Hawaiian shovel. They use these sticks that have points on both ends. And it was an incredibly fun event. Very early in my career, I spent a couple of years working at that building in Hawaii, so it was a whole lot of fun to do the groundbreaking and to have Senator Inouye there with me. It was just very cool. We are doing lots and lots down on our southern ports. Just these 3 slides here represent close to $1 billion of work. These are all approved design concepts of things that we've got going on in Region 9. Obviously, what we're doing in and around our ports is big. The challenge of ports, as many of you here in the audience know, is when you do the projects at the ports, you have to keep them open and running while you're basically replacing all of their infrastructure, and that is very difficult, very challenging.
And Jeff, something that we feel very proud of is our Opening Doors conference. This is an event that we have been holding every year since 2004. And it is an event where we bring small business and we get them exposed to how to successfully do business through and with the federal government. We held about 16 workshops in going green, doing business with government, getting on GSA schedule, going global, marketing to the federal government, contract negotiations. We had over 600 companies participate, And we had an overall rating of 4.3 out of a 5. So it was a very successful event this year.
And of course, we do understand the importance of giving back in Region 9. We understand the importance of our focus on ZEF, our focus on all things that are green, and we continue with that theme. We are doing a number of things to increase our recycling. You can see some of the stats on the slide. What we're doing to save water, we're putting in a number of PV arrays, much of that courtesy of the Recovery Act. And I put this slide up here perhaps for no other reason but to irritate less. As just a temporary measure, we did do some artificial turf installation at one of our buildings, but I'll point out that it is saving over $1 million of gallons a year until we come up with a more elegant solution prompted by our regional chief architect and Les, who have better ideas about how to do that. We're doing a green cafeteria and solar hot water at the Hollifield building. You saw a picture of that earlier. And goats. Some of you may have seen the clip we did that was about the goats. We used goats to clean off a hillside of vegetation in Pasadena. And in addition to all the good reasons to do that, it was kind of fun, and I think our clients actually got a kick out of it. And we take this stuff seriously. And in fact, many of us, some of them are the senior members of leadership in Region 9, take this stuff home. This is actually a shot of Rebecca Odell's garage and her energy-efficient cars, and she's got a bunch of other energy-efficient features on her house.
And some of us install solar panels on our roofs. In this case, these solar panels generate enough energy for all the energy needs in this household, and they put some energy back into their grid.
So these are some clips from the videos that folks entered into our talent contest. I think you'll see Hank's in the room, but you'll see the video of the talent contest winner, one of our young folks from Hawaii. But in closing, number one, thanks for being here. Thanks for giving us the time to talk about all the fun stuff that we do in Region 9, all the hard work that we do in Region 9, the collaboration, the FAS and PBS. We try and work together to make it a fun place to work, and most importantly, to keep it a region that we think really rocks. Thanks for letting us talk to you this morning.
Thank you.